Good morning. So I woke up feeling really called to circle back around and go kind of back to basics. I feel like for a minute there, like the train left the station and it's beautiful. And expressing that is, continuing to express where I'm at and what it feels like is super important to me. But it's also really important for me, I feel, to be the bridge for people who feel like they're at the very, very beginning of their awakening. That like if you've been watching some of the things I've said and you're like, I don't get it. I'm not there. Like I like it, but I'm not there. And so I wanted to make this video for that purpose, to kind of circle back around and talk about some of the stuff that I experienced at the beginning and some of the things that might be happening for people right now in the world if you are still very much caught up in what you see out in front of you. Like the programs that, when I say that, I mean the fear and separation, just like drowning in it. And that's a beautiful place to be, because that is the beginning. That is where you make a choice to go in the other direction towards love. And so I want to talk a little bit about like that and what you do if you find yourself there. And there's two big things that came to my mind in the middle of the night, which that's starting to be how it works for me, is that I wake up with these things that I can't go back to sleep until I write them all down and get it all straight and figure out how I'm going to say it. So this is what was coming to me. It's, fear and triggering are two, it's a really, really big topic that is a sticking point. In the world right now, there is division. There's this camp and this camp over here on a lot of different topics, right? It's all over. There's no point in getting into it, because whichever side you're on, feeling strongly about it and having your identity tied up in whatever camp you are in about certain subjects, that is a sticking point. You're stuck there. You can't get out of the box that is you being in one of those camps. I'll give some examples in a second, because your self-worth and who you are and whether or not you are safe and okay and accepted and gonna make it in the world is tied up in the camp that you belong to. I'll try to think of a good one. We'll use Democrats and Republicans again, because that's a good one. Okay, you're a Democrat and you have seen the narrative in front of you showing you exactly how incredibly wrong the other side is, or the other way around. I'm not either one of those things, okay, guys? There is a third thing that is authentic, that is actually the truth. That's what I'm getting at, okay? We're trapped in these definitions that we give ourselves. We're stuck there. And I guess I don't want to trigger you by saying that it's wrong. I want you to witness that it is triggering. It's a triggering place. And by triggering, I mean that there's a lot of emotion that suddenly comes up when you think about the way that you believe about which camp you're in and what the other one is promoting. There's a lot of, how people feel about the plague. That's another one. The civil issues. And I mean, there's no point in pointing them out. The point is, they're there. And we feel really polarized about them, and they hold us back and stick us in a place where we can't find out the truth. We can't expand our consciousness and what we understand to actually be happening in higher planes of consciousness, of ways of seeing who we actually are and being, because we're so stuck, not able to get past the trigger of the discomfort, the anger, and the fear that comes up when we see something that goes against that camp that we've put ourselves in. The orange man, okay? I don't need to even say anything else. We feel so strongly about him, and therefore we can't get past We're stuck. We can't keep going in our ascension, because if something that we find that might be true, a good example of that is the news. It's like, what if we were really meant to discover that something in the news wasn't right? We couldn't discover that truth authentically because that would align us with something the orange man said, and now we are everything that he is, which is horrible. And that's not the case. Okay, that's a really limited way of seeing it. You have to transcend that like him, don't like him. I mean, he's gone, right? But it's still everything that we think he was aligned with, everybody's like choosing a side. We have to completely get him out of our minds. This is like an example of that. Same thing with how, everything that's going on with the plague. Like, these things are here to show us polarity, to show us duality, and to challenge us to choose the way out of it. Choose the truth. Choose your ascension over being right. Like, what do you want to be? Do you want to be better than everybody else and right about the orange man and right about the plague and right about your Christianity or not Christianity? Or do you want to ascend and be happy and be free and find the actual truth about yourself and about the world? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a third option. And wherever it is that you're stuck, if it's that you're stuck in the box of a religion, that's another really good one, a little less triggering. If something's outside of that religion that you've always been identified with, then you're stuck there. You can't move on into these higher states of consciousness, which, if it is religion, this is what Jesus taught. He said, you'll do what I do and more. So you're walking the path of Jesus. You're not just stuck in a box that is whatever you learned. This is just a way of thinking about it. It's pointing out that even what I'm saying right now might be like triggering up anger, triggering up fear. And that's where you need to notice. You need to dissociate from that anger and realize that it's not you. You're not the one that is angry at everybody and fearful all the time. That's something that you're experiencing because it's programmed in you to experience it. And it is possible to dissociate it enough and allow yourself to look over here for a minute and try to see beyond that sticking point. Give yourself permission to realize that your self-worth is not caught up in needing to be right about something that you see outside in the world. Okay? And just let yourself be in your own resonance. And so this takes me to the next step. The next step in doing that and having your own inner guidance system that doesn't come from these camps, that doesn't come from the outside world that tells you what's right. Because that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the orange man was right, or that Christianity is wrong, or that the plague is bad or not bad, or that we're going to die or not die, or that we should get the thing or not get the thing. I'm not saying that any of those things are right or wrong and that you have to figure those things out. I'm saying you have your own guidance about everything, about where you're going and how safe you are and what is true outside of all that stuff that triggers you. You can just look away. Your self-worth and your life does not depend on being right about those things. That's where the sticking point is. It's like, no, I have to stay right here with these things that have told me that I am okay if I follow that, because I believe that forever. Not only is my identity tied up in it, but also my literal sense of security. And I'm saying you can look away from anything and you can expand, and that your expansion is much more important than being right about those things. And even if you're witnessing chaos, if you're witnessing wars, if you're witnessing so much fear and rioting and insanity and pain, you can follow your own inner guidance system. And the thing I wanted to touch on about that is that I wanted to talk about the pineal gland and tell you to go start doing your own research on that if you haven't already. and how you can decalcify it. And, stay away from fluoride. Figure out what it is that fluoride does that locks it down. Do that on your own and understand that you have control of this. Start meditating or figure out other ways that are meditative, like music is meditation. If that's the way you are, that's definitely the way I am. Music is a love language. It is a meditation. Walking and music and nature and floating in these natural lakes and being in nature, being under the trees is literally therapeutic and meditative. The more you move into these states of consciousness where you feel close to yourself, and the more you focus on that, the more you'll start to develop your own vision. And that is your compass. It's not anything I say or anybody says, and it's definitely not anything you see in the external world that is chaos and fear. Your own love and your own knowing and your own sight is what you need to start tuning into, and then everything will flow to you. Prayer, in whatever way you know it, if you know it as praying in a religious sense, fine. If you know it as talking to your guides, if you have that kind of a spiritual connection to guides and angels, whatever it looks like for you, affirmations, whatever it looks like for you, those types of practices are what's going to lead you away from the illusion and lead you into yourself, where you can start following your own inner guidance about this, about everything that you see, and realize that you can choose love over fear in every situation. And with these triggering topics, it's like they're both fear on both sides. And the path through it and out of it is love. And you know what it is that you know because you know it. There are areas where you're already breaking free. There are things that you've already seen. I'm not so sure about this anymore. That's you. That's the path. It's like you have these little lights on a path out of this and up. And the only person who can tell you what direction that is, or where it's starting to feel better, where you're starting to feel more faith and love, is yourself. You're the one that guides you out of there. And things show up, like my video, a million other people's videos. So much is out there. Signs, do you see feathers? Do you find pennies from heaven? What is it? Do you see numbers? Do you see 1111? All of these things are the beginning signs that are starting to show you that you are more than what this external world is showing you that you are, okay? You're more. And it's time to move into our own hearts. It's time to develop our own sight and understand how to cultivate that and how to follow it for ourselves, and witness yourself being triggered, and understand that when you are triggered in fear or separation or angry at someone else who believes something different that you're programmed to believe you cannot, right? Witness yourself and realize that you're coming up against a sticking point in your own ascension, and that you have got to transcend that sticking point. And it's hard. It's hard. You don't have to tell anybody that you're doing it either. You don't have to tell anybody that you're transcending your hatred for the orange people, okay? You don't have to tell anybody that you're a little less scared that you're going to die, because it's sort of, it's like you need to be scared that you're going to die all the time, or else you're a bad person. I'm sorry, but that is the program, and it's okay for you to start transcending that. It is, and you can feel it, not because I'm telling you, but because that is the path out of this, okay? I love you. I love you all so much. Please message me and tell me where you are so we can talk, okay?